Hey guys, welcome back to Quick Nursing Shorts with Smita. And today's topic of discussion is fecal incontinence, which is another condition under GI disorder, and it's generally asked for 5 marks as a short essay type. So the definition says that fecal incontinence describes the involuntary passage of stool from the rectum. It says that there is an inability to control the bowel movements, causing fecal matter to leak unexpectedly from the rectum, where the person does not even realize that they have passed the stools. And the causes behind this could be an overflow of stool or reduced storage capacity of the fecal matter inside the intestine due to some other reasons, which will end up having incontinence. Then weakness of external and internal anal sphincter. Maybe there is some impairment or the weakness of sphincter, and the person loses the ability to hold on the bowel content, and there will be a leakage. Then weakness of puborectalis muscles. So the muscle play a major role in our body. In case of any weakness in the puborectalis muscles will cause incontinence to occur. Then decreased perception of rectal sensation. It means the person has lost the sensation and perception, and you say that person has lost that feel of having a rectal sensation or bowel movement, or you can say a peristaltic movement, and due to that there will be an unexpected leakage. Then due to any trauma, maybe because of an accident, or it could be post traumatic stress disorder, the person will be facing this incontinence problem. This could be because of fear or anxiety, and also this could be because of some nerves compression. So neurologic disorder like stroke, multiple sclerosis, here also the nerves are being diminished. Then in case of inflammation and infection of bacteria, incontinence could occur. In case of radiation treatment also this is seen. Then fecal impaction. How fecal impaction can cause incontinence is, fecal impaction is generally a hardened stool which is got stuck in the part of intestine, and this hard stool will not allow the fecal matter to accommodate sufficiently inside the intestine, and there will be a leakage of stool or fecal matter. Then clinical manifestation. So taking a real scenario in your mind, you can think of what all the symptom could be of incontinence. So when there is an incontinence, there is an involuntary passage of stool, there will be a chance of minor soiling and major soiling as well. There is occasional urgency and loss of control is seen in some people, which means then if a person, imagine a person is in a social place and socializing with other, maybe in a public place, and then they might be holding on to their stools for a long time, and then suddenly there will be a urgency to pass the stool, or then ultimately they will lose that control, and this will happen as an embarrassing situation within a social event. Then complete incontinence, it means that there will not be a minor swelling, but the person will completely lose that sensation of passing the stools, and it will be more embarrassing for the person. And it is usually seen in patients who are bedridden or may have some chronic disorder. And then the poor control of flatus. So in not only the passage of stool will happen involuntarily, but there will be involuntary passage of flatus or the gas which is made in intestine. Then diarrhea could also be seen because it's nothing but the involuntary passage of stool, so the person might be experiencing diarrhea, or the symptoms could be as a diarrhea. Then moving on to the assessment and diagnostic criteria, it says that taking a complete history collection. So collect the history regarding patient's background, patient social status, patient food intake, dietary patterns, and what all the medical condition patient is having, if they had any GI surgery previously, and if they are on any kind of medication for a chronic condition. These all things are to be taken under history collection. Then having a rectal examination for visualizing if there is any fissure or fistula outside, any protrusion is there. And then we can have a sigmoidoscopy to perform and rule out any tumor which could be inside rectum and inflammation or fissures. And also x-ray studies such as barium enema could also be performed. That A barium enema could be given to the patient, then an X-ray study is to be done to just see the passage and the patency of intestine and rectum. And then CT scan is not something which is recommended at the first, but if there is any tumor or something found which is not being ruled out through any other diagnostic procedure, then we can go for a CT to have a clear picture of that. Then anorectal manometry is done to determine the pressure within the anal sphincter. Then medical management. Medical management says that the cause or cure of fecal incontinence is not that specific, but we have to treat the condition symptom. If we are not able to treat the condition, the better we do is treating out and subsiding the symptoms. So in this case, if the incontinence is happening related to diarrhea, then it is best to give that antidiarrheal and antibiotic medication to the patient. And then fecal incontinence is frequently a symptom of a fecal impaction. So if it is happening due to fecal impaction, it is recommended that the impaction should be removed and then rectum is cleansed properly, so we can assume that there could be a normal functioning of the anorectal area. And then if the fecal incontinence is related to be a more permanent condition like any other disease condition, it may be because of diabetic neuropathy, then we have to treat that condition. If it is because of diabetic neuropathy, then we have to treat that condition, or if it is due to some other disease condition, then the treatment should be given according to that condition. Then biofeedback therapy, if the person has problem with the sphincter control, then we can teach them biofeedback therapy. In that case, they can learn to control their sphincter for bowel movement. Then bowel training programs is also be effective. We can just teach the patient that to have a normal bowel training program, they should to have a normal habit of bowel passage. Then surgical management, it says surgical reconstruction. Surgical reconstruction is highly recommended in those patients who have a fissure or fistula problem, and a sphincter repair is done for the patient who has any impairment in the sphincter or the weakness of sphincter. Then fecal diversion to be done for the patient who has an indefinite or inadequate passage for the stool. Then the fecal diversion to be done, then the fecal matter would be taken out through some other places, and in that case we can go for colostomy and the person can have stoma. So nursing management, it says that initiating a bowel training program that involves setting a schedule to establish bowel regularity. So this could be done, but it is highly seen effective for the children. Then having giving suppository to stimulate the anal reflex. Here, why we are giving suppository for a patient who is already having an incontinence problem. So here, because not because to induce diarrhea, but here we are trying to induce the anal reflex. So if there is any loss of reflex, the person will have the reflex back in case of having suppositories. Then biofeedback, what I already told you in the management. So biofeedback will also be working for the patient with sphincter problem. Then maintaining skin integrity is going to be our utmost priority, as there is a there is continuous soiling of the skin because of this, and there will be a chance of infection, and the pressure ulcer risk is more for such patients having diarrhea and incontinence. So in that cases, skin integrity is to be maintained. Then, continence sometimes cannot be achieved. It says that in some cases, this could be a chronic situation where the patient will not be resuming back their normal bowel pattern ever. So, in that case, we need to sympathize with the patient. We have to be empathetic with the patient and the family member and teach them how to cope with this condition for a lifetime, and to accept that condition that they are going to deal with this situation for a lifetime basis. Then having a large catheter inserted into rectum. So once a patient who has this as a chronic situation, in that case we need to find out some some ways to ease that discomfort. So in that case, we can have a drainage system which could be external or it could be by an internal device. So here we can just insert a large catheter as we do in a urinary catheterization. So here the catheter is inserted into the rectum and the fecal matter will be passing through a drainage system. Then we can just clean out the drainage system as we do in urinary catheterization. Then external devices are special pouches that are drainable, so we can just attach some special pouches which are made for this condition, and then we can have that uh, pouch out and clean it and then replace it back. Then the nursing diagnosis, it could be diarrhea related to the inflammatory process or acute pain related to increased peristalsis, then deficient fluid volume deficit related to diarrhea, imbalanced nutrition less than body requirement related to dietary restriction and malabsorption, activity intolerance related to fatigue, activity then anxiety related to impending surgery, ineffective coping related to repeated episodes of diarrhea, risk for impaired skin integrity related to malnutrition and diarrhea. Risk for skin integrity, you can put it here in case of, yeah, here instead of putting this in at last, you can just add it on the third or the fourth diagnosis. So this is it about the fecal incontinence. So see you in the next video. Please, if you are relating to this video and if it is being um, helpful for you guys, then do like, share and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Bye bye. Thank you for watching.